In the span of just 1 week, over 200 lives have tragically been lost in the Israel-Palestine conflict. This isn't just another news headline. These are fathers, mothers, children, friends, human beings caught in the crossfire of an escalating crisis. The air is thick with tension and fear, punctuated by the deafening roar of gunfire and the ominous hum of drones overhead. This is the unseen battlefield, a place where homes become fortresses and streets morph into mazes of danger and uncertainty. It's a place where hope and despair are intertwined, and the daily struggle for survival overshadows dreams of peace. In the midst of this chaos, it's easy to forget the history that led us here, the tangled web of politics, religion, and territory that fuels this relentless conflict. As the world watches in horror, we delve into the history and complexities of this ongoing conflict. To understand the present, we must first venture into the past. Our journey begins in the early 20th century, a world grappling with the aftermath of the Great War. Amid the upheaval, a significant document emerged in the form of the Balfour Declaration, a letter penned by British Foreign Secretary Arthur Balfour in 1917. It expressed Britain's support for the establishment of a national home for the Jewish people in Palestine. This declaration sowed the first seeds of conflict. Palestine, a land rich in history and cultural diversity, was home to a significant Arab majority who naturally harbored reservations about this promise. Nevertheless, the years following the Balfour Declaration saw a surge in Jewish immigration to Palestine, further fueling tensions between the Jewish immigrants and the Arab population. Fast forward to the end of World War II, and the horrors of the Holocaust heightened global sympathy for the plight of the Jewish people. In 1947, the United Nations proposed a partition plan dividing Palestine into Jewish and Arab states. Although the Jewish leadership accepted the plan, it was vehemently rejected by the Arab states. Despite the opposition, the State of Israel was proclaimed in 1948, triggering the First Arab-Israeli War. The conflict ended with Israel expanding its territories beyond the proposed borders, leaving hundreds of thousands of Palestinians displaced. In the decades that followed, many key events and turning points further complicated the scenario. The Six-Day War of 1967, the two intifadas, the Oslo Accords, and the recent wave of violence and unrest. All these chapters added layers of complexity to the conflict, making it one of the most protracted and controversial issues of our time. The stage was set for a conflict that has spanned decades, shaping the geopolitical landscape of the Middle East. The roots of the Israel-Palestine conflict run deep, embedded in historical, religious, and political narratives that continue to feed into the present-day crisis. As we move forward, it's crucial to remember that understanding this history is key to comprehending the complexities and potential resolutions of this enduring conflict. Behind the headlines and statistics, there are people whose lives have been irrevocably altered by this conflict. Every day, mothers, fathers, sons, and daughters wake to a reality heavily marked by the echoes of war. The Israel-Hamas conflict in the year 2023 is not merely a matter of geopolitical strife, but a story of human lives caught in the crossfire. Picture a young Palestinian mother in Gaza. Her mornings are punctuated not by the sound of a rooster's crow, but by the distant rumble of machinery and the omnipresent hum of drones. She holds her child tighter, whispering lullabies that speak of a time when the sky was not a source of fear but a canvas of dreams. Then visualize an elderly Israeli man in Tel Aviv. His hands, weathered by time, clutch a photograph of a smiling boy, his grandson. The boy's laughter, once a symphony in his quiet home, is now a memory, drowned out by the cacophony of sirens and explosions. In the West Bank, a teenager gazes at a wall, not to admire the artistry of graffiti, but to dream of what lies beyond the concrete barrier. His dreams are not of grandeur, but of normalcy, a world where his identity is not a passport to scrutiny and his homeland not a battlefield. In contrast, an Israeli soldier stationed at a checkpoint struggles with the weight of his duty. He is a son, a brother, perhaps a father, torn between his love for his country and the harsh realities his job entails. These are not isolated tales, but common threads in a tapestry of pain and resilience that stretches from the Mediterranean shores to the heart of Jerusalem. Each story, a testament to the indomitable human spirit, yet each one a heart-rending echo of the price paid in this enduring conflict. In the grand scheme of things, these stories may seem insignificant, lost in the political rhetoric and the noise of battle. But it is these narratives that truly capture the essence of the Israel-Hamas conflict. These stories are a stark reminder of the devastating human cost of the conflict. The Israel-Palestine conflict is not just a battle on the ground, but a complex web of geopolitical interests and alliances. Diving into this tangled web, we find a myriad of players, each with their own vested interests. Let's start with the regional powers. Iran, for instance, has been a long-standing supporter of Hamas, providing financial aid and weapons. This support is not merely out of religious solidarity, but also a strategic move against Israel, Iran's regional adversary. On the other hand, we have Saudi Arabia and the United Arab Emirates. Traditionally, they have supported the Palestinian cause. However, recent years have seen a shift towards normalization of relations with Israel, largely due to shared concerns over Iran's growing influence in the Middle East. Then there's the United States, a significant player on the global stage. Historically, the US has been a staunch ally of Israel, providing substantial military aid and diplomatic support. This has often led to criticism, with detractors arguing that such support undermines the possibility of a balanced peace process. Europe too plays a role. While European nations have varied positions, many have recognized a Palestinian state and called for a two-state solution. However, their influence on the conflict has been limited, often overshadowed by the United States' involvement. Let's not forget Russia and China. Both have positioned themselves as mediators, calling for dialogue and peaceful resolution. However, their intentions are not purely altruistic. By gaining a foothold in Middle East politics, they aim to increase their global influence and counterbalance US hegemony. Finally, we have international organizations like the United Nations. While they have made numerous attempts to mediate peace, their efforts have often been hampered by the veto powers of the US, Russia, and China in the Security Council. These geopolitical undercurrents add another layer of complexity to the conflict, influencing its course and potential resolutions. Despite the seemingly insurmountable challenges, efforts to resolve the Israel-Palestine conflict continue. This isn't a simple fracas that could be quelled by a stern word or a handshake agreement. It's a deep-seated, complex issue steeped in decades of history, politics, and human suffering. To understand the path to peace, we must first acknowledge the obstacles. These include territorial disputes, the right of return for Palestinian refugees, the status of Jerusalem, and security arrangements. Each of these issues requires careful negotiation, compromise, and ultimately a willingness to see the humanity in the other. Yet, despite these challenges, the winds of change are stirring. The world is more interconnected than ever before, and the voices calling for peace are growing louder. They echo in the halls of power, in the streets of Tel Aviv and Gaza, and across the digital landscape. There are several potential scenarios for peace. One possibility is the two-state solution, long endorsed by the international community, which envisions independent Israeli and Palestinian states living side by side. However, the viability of this solution has been questioned due to ongoing settlement expansion and the geographical fragmentation of the Palestinian Territories. Another option is the one-state solution, where Israelis and Palestinians would live together in a single democratic state. This too has its challenges, as it requires a radical shift in mindset and a willingness to share power. There are also hybrid solutions, like the Confederation model, which proposes a union of two sovereign states. Each model comes with its own set of challenges and opportunities for peace. The path to peace is not a straight line. It's a winding road, filled with sharp turns and steep climbs. It requires courage, resilience, and a steadfast commitment to justice and human rights. It requires dialogue, understanding, and above all, empathy. While the path to peace is fraught with challenges, the hope for a just and lasting resolution endures. After all, history has shown us that even the most entrenched conflicts can find resolution, and so we continue to hope, to strive, and to believe in the possibility of peace. The Israel-Palestine conflict is a complex and deeply rooted issue that continues to shape the Middle East and the world. We've traversed the unseen battlefields, sowing the seeds of understanding in the fertile ground of history. We've witnessed the human cost, the lives caught in the crossfire of geopolitical chess games. We've navigated the intricate global politics at play and pondered the arduous path toward a peaceful resolution. In the face of this multifaceted conflict, it's easy to feel overwhelmed. Yet, we're reminded that every perspective, every story, every statistic, and every potential solution we've explored today is a piece of a much larger puzzle. It's a puzzle that demands our engagement, our understanding, and our empathy. As we continue to grapple with the complexities of this conflict, we are reminded of the power of understanding, empathy, and dialogue in our quest for peace.